Okay, April 26th. This is going to be a documentation video on the extremely poor workmanship by James A. Beck. Okay, here we go. What we have, let's start at the back door. Hey, I'll need you in a few minutes. I'll come get you. Oh, okay, all right. Here we go. This is the documentation of the workmanship that Mr. Beck considers to be finished work. We'll start over at this corner. Okay, disregard these right here. This is the pattern that I asked him to put right here. That's the pattern I asked him to put. Yeah, bear that in mind. This is what he put. Now, you may ask yourself why. Well, pretty obvious. It's easier. Well, basically easier if you did it right. Of course, even zooming in here, look at this. I mean, if you're even going to do it that way, you wouldn't do it so sloppy. Of course, he did. Then you look at the end here, and his idea of finished is that. And I said, well, look at it. He said, don't worry, once you push the gravel up to it, you won't see it. Well, I guess if you did, you wouldn't, but it would look kind of, well, enough but said. Here we go. All right, let's look at the fine workmanship here. The same thing there. He said, don't worry about that. Meaning that, you're going to push up gravel around it as well. His idea of finishing is pushing gravel and sand. So here we go. In front of my, right here, you notice this crack or joint, which shouldn't be there, which goes from a 1/2 inch to 1.5 inches. Of course, he's got it all sanded in. We'll look at the extreme amount of roll, and it's got like a little swimming pool indention area there that shouldn't be there. It rises up. When I say there, right there. Right there is the indention. A little harder to see, but if you look to the edge, because of the shadows, it's a little hard right now, but it actually goes up. Shouldn't. The bricks and stuff, the tiles you see pulled up, I pulled those up just the reason I had another contractor here going over and confirming what I already knew. Of course, this was covered with sand too. When I say this, this one right here, notice, yeah, that's finished work. Notice the seam. Okay, those are the lock-ins on this side here. These here are the ones that are locked in because they're mortared down. Well, these right here were the ones that went along here. And of course, they're not mortared down anymore. As you can see, his idea of mortaring down was to use dry mortar, which I can chip with my fingers. Look at that. Crap. Everything crap. These, of course, there aren't. That's what. Okay. We come along here, this idea of finishing it in my shadow. Again, this was supposed to be capped. Here we go, looking in here. That was supposed to be done. It's not. And of course, here we go, another great example of workmanship right there. That's what he considers finished. Never even, these are supposed to be locked in. Never bothered to do that. Alright. Let us go to this is the east side of the house. So we're looking at what we're looking at. And we're going to start the big abortion. Try to be as nice as I can. Alright. Hard to see. I did take some still pictures, but this goes whoop, whoop, which it shouldn't. You can see it go whoop there. That's a divot. Okay. First time it rains or anything, we're going to have wicked problems. Why? Because, of course, what he told me is, this is his exact words. Well, Joseph, he was supposed to be done yesterday. You just leave the sand on here for about 3-4 days because it works its way in. Well, that's utter crap. You take the sand off as you go. There should be no sand standing because there's no need for it. Just need in the joints, which are here, which should be about the size of a match pack or a thin paper. oh, you're looking at maybe a 32/30 2/32 of an inch to a 1/16 of an inch. 32nd to a 1/16 of an inch. In other words, instead of like that, they should be much tighter, okay? And then you fill the sand in. Of course, they have to be locked in. As you can see, there's concrete down there, but they're not locked in. So these guys here, all they have is sand. You step on them, they move. Watch. Oh, there you go, look. By stepping on it, I've already dislodged it, and that's, you know, just been put down. So you can imagine what's going to happen after a couple of rains. This seam here is another example of what he quotes finish. Like I said, I do have, I'm going to clean the lens. Get any sand down there. Let's look down along here. Alright, you can see how it overhangs, and then how it's, yeah. He was especially proud of this one. Yep. He was proud of it. He took me over here. He had to come and get me to show me. He says, look, see how I did? It didn't look right. If I put the tile to the edge of the pour, it would look bad. So I overhung it like that. And I said, well, great. What are you going to do now? He's there. Well, he's there. You, meaning me, you come back and fill that in. Now, it should have been, if he's going to do that, it should have been filled in, and then it should have been capped. Meaning capped with stone, something like this, right? Which actually come and form a finished. Of course, in this case, they'd have to be up this high, so we'd have to use a different stone, but you get the idea what I'm saying. In other words, they'd have to be up like this, but reaching all the way to the ground, so when you have the joint. Ideally, what you want to do is have it undercut a little bit, as it's been explained to me by real contractors. So it's, I can't get it under there because it's too thick, but this would again have to be cut, and that's the reason why he didn't do it, because it would have been cut, which means labor, which means, okay, it would have been taking time. Time is money, and since he bid the job and already got the money, like me being a fool, gave it to him because he cried and moaned, needed money. He didn't. Can you imagine a contractor showing up on a job, supposed to have been in business for years, an empty tank in his truck, and not having enough money in his pocket to pay for it, doesn't have a credit card, and doesn't have a bank account? Well, all the red flags that I ignored, too late. If you look at this, it looks like we're looking at the ocean. It just rolls along, up and down. I'll give you this. I'll give you the shot. We'll walk along it like so, and hopefully it'll pick up most of the imperfections I'm talking about. And there's my helper, Donna Pabula. Donna Pabula, say hi to the camera. Yeah, she's doing our gardening now. She's AKA gardener. Actually, she's doing the weeding, something that she loves to do.
Beautiful bird feather. It's blue.
Oh, it is.
Can you see it?
Yeah. Okay. Back to the documentary. You can see the line, how extremely poor it is. Of course, you know, what you want to do is you want to put a chip piece. Now, he's got extra pieces, mind you. You could have lifted this out because he was just sitting in sand. But instead, he chose to leave it because, again, now the reason having the sand is so when you lay each of these, there are no lips, right? As you notice, it's just a preponderance of, just an abundance of overlaps and unevenness, which, you know, you just don't do. And of course, there we go. That's another one. Okay. Now, the way this is supposed to be done is you make your outside edge, these, outside edge. They're all mortared in. It's all done right. If there's any overhang here, at best, there's a 1/2 inch, so you don't have this. And of course, again, these cracks should be no more. You should have problems getting a dollar bill in there, or a pack of matches, right? The cover of a pack of matches. Getting a close-up look at this, you can see there's none of that, none of that. And we were here just earlier. I don't know if I can do this demonstration. Of course, all this should have been taken away. Okay. You saw me just do that? That little tap, tap, tap. Now these are mortared in. Alright, if they were mortared in right, I could never have done that. There. There. What's that show you? It was done improperly, to say the least. So a little tap, 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 or over time, they would all fall off anyway. And of course, now you got to understand, this is, quote, according to James Vern, Beck, finished work, Class A. He is the best there is. There's hardly a contractor in the county that can hold a flame to him. And how do I know this? This is what he said. Of course, you notice how straight a pour this is. And over there, when I mean that, you'll see it right here. It goes whoop, dip down. Got a nice little pool there. So when it rains, we have a pool. In actuality, him doing such a piss poor job, extremely, extremely poor job, we're going to be able to take these up. Everything has got to be taken up, which will be done in the next couple of days. Right there, you get a better, you can actually see the, he's got the roll, it goes down, and it goes up, and it goes down, and it goes up. Now, if I was, you know, onto the C effect, the rolling C, this would be perfect. He did a great job. All right, let's go over here, because we can get an example of his artistry in motion. Now, according to James, he says, see these gaps here? I said, what is all this? He said, well, that's how you do it. I said, what do you mean that's how you do it? Even here, let's get down close. Well, Joseph, what you got to do is bring the topsoil in, fill it to the bottom of these, and once it's there, you put more sand in, and then it'll stay. Well, okay, let's see. Then it'll stay. I don't want to pull too hard. I can pull that up. Okay, I already pulled that one up. Okay, now here's another artistry in motion. Here's his, I'll uncover this. Let's see how good a job he did there. Because he told me to do this, I couldn't take this off for 3 days. Of course, he'd be long gone by then, and I never even hear from him, which I won't talk to him on the phone anymore because he's a pathological liar. The pathological liar is, I think he actually believes his own lies. He spins his story, and then he gets it in his mind that's the truth, and come hell or high water, that is the truth. Because he's, again, telling me that I've got an $8,500 job here for $4,000. And here's a good example. Of course, this is all wrong, the way the blocks are done in here. But here is his example. Here's the piece that he cut to go in there. You notice it's very artistic. It's got a lot of curves and stuff. And to fill in that gap, well, you simply put this in. Of course, you know, these are going to stay, right? Yep. When it rains. This has just been down for 2 days. And when I stepped on here this morning, just popped off. Why? Same reason. Okay? That's the way it was. Same thing over here. You know, let's get real, folks. How could I, with no tools, just fingers, lift it up? That one's almost ready to pop off. Of course, there you go. Same thing with this line that he did here. But before we go there, let's go over here. Let's see which I am. All right. Get a good look. Let's get down. Oh, look at this. Already washing out from the sprinkler system. When it went, you can see there's water going to be. Oh, there's going to be water. Well, with tight cracks, tighter than this, because these are too wide, none of this would be happening. And then I don't know if you can see the ocean in motion here, but I think you can. Pan around. All right, we'll walk out to the street here. I like my new car hauler. It's insulated, got air conditioning, got a toolbox mounted on the wall, one of them deck plate ones. I'll have to make a video of that one. 24 foot. Okay, back here we can get a better perspective of the ocean in motion. Okay, now if you look really closely at the line, you will see it goes up and dips down. Maybe be a little hard, might have to zoom in, but I'll walk in with it slowly and you'll be able to see what I mean. Okay. There we go. Oh, that's that edge there, and as you can see, the second one in over there is breaking off. That's when the contractor I got that I think I'm going to hire to do it will tapped it with his fist and it came off. Since this morning, it's about 11:30 now, Bill and James Williams, Billy Kelly and James Williams, they were here. They're the ones that did my bathroom, did an exquisite job, and they're going to fix it. I had Victor, my neighbor, and his guy come over, and he said, this guy has a concrete business, and he does pavers, been doing them 25 years. He said he's never, even an amateur job, now we're not talking professional now, even when he's gone and seen amateurs that laid this kind of work here, he's never seen such a poor example. And I kind of believe him, because if you can see here, now when he did this, when he did the pour, this is a good spot to do it. When he did the pour, he just threw up the frame that you see, got the thing, and he was very proud of that. Kept saying how good it was, that nobody in Florida could do it as fast as him. Well, I believe that, because no one could do it so poorly either. The idea of that is to be perfectly flat this way with a slight pitch going to the outside, so when the water hits it falls off. It's all got to be pre-planned. How do you do that? You shoot 2-3 lines this way, several lines this way, get all your forms lined up, get ready for skeeting. It comes in. Well, the madman dumped all the thing. He stood in here, and little by little he had the guy pour the concrete. He had one about 6-foot piece of 2x4 that he screeded it out by eye. And the proof is in the pudding, because it looks it. It's probably the most uneven surface that you would want. The perfect example of what you would never want to have to lay pavers on. Both guys looked at me, and without coaxing, each one looked up at me. He said, obviously, this man has never done pavers before. Well, I think he looked at YouTube, saw the video, and decided he could do it. Because this is what it looks like. And as we move up here, he was going to leave that like that, because that's, again, I see there, that's his idea finished. There's no cap, there's no nothing. You look here in the corner, the run out, when we get up there, at the end, you'll see it's right tight against it. Of course, that's because he didn't do it right again. Again, gap's too wide. This is all going to have to be cut up. This is the next few days of taking everything up. And again, with my fist tapping on it, I was able to dislodge that right there, because again, it was done improperly. Of course, here's another shining example of his exquisite finishing work. The first person here and his friend, they looked, they said, oh, that must be a diving board for frogs, or maybe the lizards in the yard. We all had a good laugh. If nothing else, Mr. Beck, he's provided us with tons of laughs and incredulous words almost fail me. It's like how anybody in their right mind could tell me that these pieces sitting in here, like so, scrape that back, this is the way it was. This was his. He obviously moved over, because God knows it won't do that though. Right, there we go. This one is like half-assed, right? I mean, it's tight like it's supposed to be, but of course it's kind of like Heidi Wampus. Okay, so there we go. You're looking at an example of his work. Now, what's wrong with that? Okay, change his pattern. What's wrong with that? Well, that's exactly what you don't want to do. And again, notice the pattern, how he's got a line this way, horizontal, vertical. It's not at all the pattern I showed you at the beginning, because that pattern would have taken some time and some cuts. This pattern takes no time and no cuts. So can you guess why he did it? I'll give you 3. First 2 don't count. Alright. Notice how he's got that perfect overrun. When I say perfect overrun, well, it was because his form wasn't right. Had it been right, see how that one's and those hang over, and you go down, all the way down. It's probably hard to see, but I think you can at the beginning. I'm out here in the light, so I can't see. That is right at the edge, meaning the edge of the paver is at the edge, how it should have been all the way down. How it's done professionally, and I got this by two guys today, is you first, when you do any job, you lay your outside edge, you make all your cuts, you mortar it in using VersaBond gray. Both guys use the same material called VersaBond gray. And once that's done, you work into the wall making all your cuts. If you have to make a cut like this, you never make a cut like that, first off. That. And same with here. When you make your cuts here, or as you do it, you make your cuts in against the wall, and everything goes, all your cuts go against the wall, they all blend in, your pattern stays the same, your eye is not distracted. Both contractors came with two, the first one was 3 people, this one was second people, and agreed wholeheartedly on what was to be done. So, getting back to over here, what I first started out with, everything you see here, the only thing we're going to be able to salvage is what's under here. Luckily, from where you see the cable to here, when I lift this up, it's pretty much like these here. We'll be able to salvage those. And then, obviously going to have to redo his handiwork, how the superb cutting job he's done here. You know, how he pieced it in. Again, showing a complete lack of understanding of the finish work. So, this is all going to be removed. Everything you see. New piece of a new slab will be laid, and it'll be flat. Of course, it's going to be higher now. So, of course, what he wasn't able to figure out, what both guys were able to figure out, and said to me, oh, that's a simple solution. The reason why Vern, James, Beck, couldn't do that, and went through all the trouble of dropping the cement down, which he busted up by hand, by the way, just in front of the door, where you can see right here, right from this line there, back, it's in hollow. He busted that out so he could open the door. Of course, he didn't do the rest, because we'll get to that. So his limited capacity, I'll be nice, I won't use any derogatory words because he's offended by that. So, for his limited capacity in brain power, as far as thinking and problem solving, his solution was to spend an hour busting all this out, making a roll. Well, the other 2 people said, why would you do that? I said, well, okay, tell me why. Well, you would have left it that way. You would have put a thin 1-inch coat over the top. He said, you see your door here, Snackwitz? Yeah. He said, look up at the top of that door. I said, okay. They directed me to that. He said, you simply take that out. Here's your screws. You lift this up. You raise the door. And now you have a step, no different than you have in there. You're stepping in there. So basically, when you step out here, you would simply step out or step up. Meaning this would be higher, the door would be higher. So from the patio to here, you'd have a step up. That's simple. Probably take 1/5 the time. Well, the only difference is that takes forethought, that takes intelligence, and brain power, none of which are possessed by James Vern Beck. James, I'm going to be sending you a copy of this, and you're going to be getting it. And I'm hoping you're going to be enjoying it. And, oh yeah, here's your sidewalk that you made match. And as you can see, it's a perfect match to this one. Only difference is there's no lines and the grade's wrong. And of course, oh yeah, I think I got to these. That was all filled with sand. And what you said to me, James, was, hey, don't worry, Joseph, that's all locked in, it's not going anyplace. Okay, yeah, it's not going anyplace. Okay. Back here real quick, because I'm getting tired of this. These are the pavers that he laid into me that said it was no snap. He'd have this done in like 2-3 hours. Took his man a day and a half to do this, and do it, did he ever. This has got more slopes and curves than the ocean. No need for it, should have been all flat. I even explained to him how to do this before he did this. This is quote finish. I just dug this up to show you right here. See, there's that's a clean out for my sewer. So when I saw it, it looked, in all fairness, James, I'm going to put this back, show you your handiwork, and explain. There we go. Except for my handprint, you did have it smooth, okay? And that was it. This was finished. And I said, well, James, why did you do that? Because I told you to take one of these tiles. See, the reason you couldn't lay the tile here is because, again, this right here was too high. It made it stick up. In other words, you get it down here, but you couldn't fit it with that edge. So I said, well, that's simple. You take chalk and you rub it all over the top of this. You take the piece that you're going to use, you put it on there, you wiggle it around. You flip it over. You see where your chalk mark is. You get a scribe. You scribe the 4-inch circle, which this is a 4-inch circle, right? You all follow me? Now, let's pretend that this is just for pretending's sake, that this is the tile we got, right? And it's flipped over. And this is the circle. And you carefully with a chisel, just chip, 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 go into the center and chip it out, and then chip, chip across and chip it, and you chip yourself a little indentation that'll fit over that, and you flip it over and boom, it sits perfectly flat. Why didn't you do that? Well, first off, it would require skill, time, and patience, none of which are possessed by he or his men. What they chose to do is take 3 pieces, slop them in there, and put some sand for fill to call that finished. You saw what it looked like. Voila. Finish. Yeah, right. There were enough, until he broke them, to actually do the whole thing. And so after they had extra pavers, and they just laid these down to cover up the dirt, because at that point it's like, oh God, just cover up the dirt. Of course, you can see what an incredibly poor job was done. There's Donna Pabula doing her thing diligently. Okay, we're going to look back, look at, yeah, really, really fine finish work. This is the best they could do. I mean, come on, you got to be joking me. But the thing is, you're not joking me. This is actually what they did and consider that finish. Like I said, both contractors said, obviously these people have never done this because they had no clue. And I have to agree. The pictures of the finished jobs he showed me, what he showed me were not bad. Obviously he couldn't have done it. There's no way a guy could have done it. Let me just show you this, that I had to have my guy Michael, who was detailing my motor home here. Okay, when I came over here and looked at it, I said, wow, something doesn't look right. Okay, the way it looks now was not the way it looked. He had this, to be honest with you, this was filled, and you see along the line here, comes down, and it drops down, 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 it tapers away till it's thicker down here and thinner up there. Well, this was filled right to the top. He had this perfectly square, right? Right to the top, and right to the top, and perfectly smooth. And his man, Chris, came away and said, yeah, it's all done. So I got over here and I opened the door. Well, attempted to open the door. Got it this far, only to find out the doors were not open anymore because this was too high. Luckily, Michael, having knowledge of this, because he does stonework as a thing, took and shoveled 2 bags worth of concrete. When I mean 2 ready-mix bags worth of concrete, a wheelbarrow full of stuff out of here, re-wet it, and re-troweled it until we got the proper thing. And this is and both the guys said, the only thing that looks done right is this. And I said, that's because I had my guy that was polishing my motor home spend an hour fixing what they had done. And it does look all right. After he troweled it, he went on a sponge along the edge, and it's a professional looking job. The only thing, like I say, again, the only professional looking part of it is because James Beck or his men had nothing to do with it. Had they, you'd be looking at one of their abortions. Oh, it's a beautiful day, and James and Billy Kelly and his men are coming next week to right the wrong. So, with that, folks, it's been a pleasure. Let's see. Dun,